Welcome back, y'all. In today's video, you know what? Actually, I'm 100% sure everyone knows what this video is about unless you didn't read the title. If you haven't read the title, go read the title. But to be honest, I'm gonna still tell you all anyways what the video is about, so you didn't actually need to read the title. My bad, bro. Anyway, this is part 2 of the mini-series focusing on a Volume 9 wish list. I have been saying that Volume 9 is coming soon. In every single video, there has been someone that has said that Volume 8 just came out. Volume 8 came out weeks ago, buddy. Catch up. It's time for Volume 9 now. If you all enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. We are almost at 500 subs. That's pretty fire in my opinion. Also, remember to follow me on Twitch. We most likely live right now on NFS Unbound. But let's get straight into it. If you have not seen part 1, the question that was asked is, what are the top things you guys want to see the most in Volume 9? It could be anything. Quality of life features, cars, tracks, etc. We had almost 30 answers and we will be covering a few more of them right now. The first response was from y'all who said Aston Martin Valor and Lancia Integral. I hope I said that correctly. I'm so sorry to anybody who got offended if I did not say those correctly. I had no idea what either of these cars were. Yeah, go ahead and get the shock out of your system. If it's not a Mercedes, a BMW, or the Lamborghini Urus, I don't know what it is, to be honest. Since we have already talked about car selection in the previous video, I won't go too deep into it, but I agree we should have had more variety in the car selection. Now, I will say that I don't think Aston Martin should get one of the spots for new cars, considering there are plenty of other brands that literally got one car in the game. I truly wish that the rest of the car list for Unbound would get leaked somewhere or something. That way we all wouldn't have to keep guessing what cars are coming up next. But remember to keep your expectations not super low, but low enough so that you won't get disappointed if it's a Honda Odyssey minivan that can be equipped with a Bugatti engine instead of the cars that you actually want. Overall though, solid picks. The second answer was from the German Charizard, who said, number 1, hood delete for all cars. Number 2, return old cars and some new ones as well. Number 3, all multiplayer updates for single player. Number 4, make your own anime effects. Number 5, a track builder. Number 6, Need for Speed Heat style garage view, seeing all your cars you have or use a lot. Number 7, sell engine parts you don't need anymore or reuse them for other cars like in Heat. Number 8, add your own music to the game. Number 9, livery editor like in GT7. And number 10, returning Toyota. Okay, first off, hood delete for all cars. The funny part about this is that the option for hood deletes is already in the game, and I'm pretty sure one of the Skylines can delete the hood if I'm not mistaken. Why this is not available for every single car? I don't have a definite answer, of course, but I think it's because the dev team did not want to or did not have the time to create details for majority of the car engines. I think that if we were to remove the hood with mods, it would just be a blank piece of like gray block for Minecraft or something super low res. Imagine removing the hood to your favorite car in Need for Speed and it's a 144p random picture of an engine. That would be insane. But I agree, this is something that should surely be added into the game and would make a lot of people who customize cars really happy. Because at the end of the day, what is Need for Speed known for? Racing, cops, and what? Customization. Please give us the customization portion. Returning old cars is 100% a licensing issue, and that may be the reason why the car lists from Heat and Unbound are pretty much identical, since EA has already bought the licenses probably a few years to be used in video games. It's possible for them to bring back older brands past the game's release though. Look at the most hated, most loved R8. But that also may have something to do with how it was planned way back in Volume 1. It's a tricky subject, but Criterion also needs to realize that it can't just be one or the other. Please give us older cars and newer cars at the same time. Maybe have 3 cars released each volume, 1 older car, maybe a fan favorite, and then 2 newer cars. If they are running out of newer cars to add, then just reverse it and have 2 older cars and 1 newer car. All multiplayer updates for single player. I doubt that Criterion is going to go back on their word about not updating single player, just because if they wanted to do it, it would have already been done already. And the fact that they have been so stuck in their ways with every recommendation to update single player, I just don't think it's going to ever happen. It would be amazing to have these things take place in single player. That way those who enjoy the single player more than multiplayer can do those things alone and just vibe out. But every single time someone has mentioned single player, it gets shut down immediately. The one thing that really got me though, I have never seen someone suggest the option of players being able to make their own anime effects. That is a really good idea, and maybe they could implement a color selector where you could combine any color with any animation that pops up when you get a 3-bar. Usually people either love the animations or hate the animations, but the option to customize them to whatever the players like might be a nice middle ground for both parties. Super good idea right here. Really nice. I remember talking about the heat style garage in my video on why Need for Speed games seem to take out great options from previous games for no reason. Now don't get me wrong, the garage style in Unbound is really cool, and the fact that they added that camera animation when you're idling in the garage is actually really well done as well. However, seeing all your cars with all the customization you've done to them, as Charizard stated, is peak. This would honestly require a complete overhaul of all garage functions and the user interface of the garage itself though, so maybe they can add it, but who knows, right? Another good idea would be maybe to have the heat style garages serve a different purpose than the regular safe houses. Maybe have the heat style garages act as a sort of hangout spot for car meets and things like that. Or it can serve as a crew garage if Unbound adds crew capabilities. Selling engine parts back to the game when you don't need them is great and should have been added already. The reason I don't think they've added it yet, besides the fact that the game was just not designed to be able to do that, is because Criterion wanted people to grind the game and continue to play even after getting all the parts. It sucks when you have extra parts, and to rub salt into the wound, you can't even use these parts across the same car if you were to buy it twice. It's literally the same car. Why can I not use the same parts that I bought for the first time on the second car if it's the exact same thing? This is something that should be added for sure. The rest of these recommendations for Volume 9 are still good, but aren't super heavy hitters like the rest, so I've combined them into one. Adding music to the game is very risky, as the music we have now has been purchased by EA to have the rights to play without copyright. Since EA has no way of knowing what a bunch of people listen to, they would essentially have to buy the world's music catalog to have the ability to let each and every person listen to whatever music they want. Imagine how expensive that would be. On top of that, you already know EA is very, 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 very cheap. The chances of them doing this is less than 1%. It is better off that you turn the radio off and just turn Spotify on, and I'm pretty sure that's what they count on people to do in general. Delivery editor is not something I am too familiar with, so I won't speak on it really, but if it needs to be updated or done a bit better, then so be it. Get it done, Criterion. The last one is returning Toyota. I mean, yes, we all want Toyota, but is it gonna happen? I truly do not know, guys. I don't know, but I'm glad that you guys are still dedicated on wanting Toyota into the game. The third answer was from Combine, who said, for events, an option to race against AI in multiplayer and an option to select any track and any tier for the event. And then they also stated, for cars, I wish the return of the Gallardo, Carrera GT, the Sesto Elemental, which is a Lamborghini, a Lexus LFA, which we already talked about in the last video, and of course the Supra. Let us dream for the Supra. Y'all are honestly starting a movement talking about Toyota. It is so funny. I swear every video that I make has something to do with Toyota if I'm talking about any type of car to add into the game, and I love it, y'all. I truly do. Hopefully Criterion sees this, or maybe an EA employee sees this and they have some pull and might be able to get Toyota in there. If we get Toyota in Unbound, I'm crediting every single person. I'm shouting every single one of you out that talked about Toyota at least one time. But anyway, racing against AI honestly surprised me when I first started to play Unbound. In Heat, we were allowed to race with AI and restart races. Why were these options removed in the first place? Question mark, right? On top of this, it's not like the game doesn't have AI to use. The AI from single player can just be ported over to multiplayer. And when we are racing against the league folk in multiplayer, they are AI. The one reason I could maybe see Criterion not doing this from the jump is because they may just want single player and multiplayer to be separate completely. If you play multiplayer, they want you to interact with other people online only. The second part to this, which was the option to select and track tier, may require a rework of the playlist system since we are not allowed to do single races. Great ideas though. As for the cars, W choices here. Once again, you all are asking for Toyota, maybe they will listen. From I Show 6 Speeds, give us an option to add police lights to any car we want, except hypercars like the P1 GTR, the Evo, or electric cars, but lock it in S Plus class along the other cop cars because it would be absolute hell if people made meta cop cars. So, I kind of understand this one, but at the same time, it's a bit confusing because it sounds like you're asking for two different things, but also asking for one thing. The option to add police lights to any car would be really nice. Once again, a customization option that is needed in a game literally made for car customization. But why would you not want police lights on the cars you mentioned? If they were to add these lights, it would be purely cosmetic, as Unbound is not designed with detailed car tuning in mind. For example, in Forza, if you had bars on the top of your car, it can affect the performance of the car. This is not so in Unbound. So when you talk about the light bars, putting the light bars on any car won't automatically make it a cop variant. It's just a cool look. Also, S Plus cops wouldn't make a lot of sense considering the fact that cars in that tier are beyond fast. If they were to do a hot pursuit S Plus tier, it would have to be just the Lotus or the Regera versions of the cop cars, so everyone would be in meta regardless. Great idea with the police lights though. Imagine racing and everyone has police lights going. That would be crazy to see. For the fifth response, we got one from It's Pews who said, allow us to freely try out engines and parts before we spend our hard-earned money. Off-road racing in general to PvP. The cops have to box the racers in instead of trying to literally kill them. Have the cop cars always be one tier below the racers. A ranked PvP to create the line between competitive and casual. Era style racing. And finally, I want them to add motorcycles. Extreme hot take, but we saw one from Officer Torres in Heat. Come on, Ducati, please. Alright, giving a free trial would be good in regard to buying a car, but I don't think they would do engine swaps, just because if you're testing out an engine, you would also need to test out all the parts with it as well, like you said, and at that point you might as well just buy the engine. This is also in addition to the fact that there are a lot of better ways to make money now from the beginning of the game, so a lot of people have the money to buy engines and the parts. Overall, it is a great idea, but I do think that it will require too much factoring in to implement in the game at this time. Maybe a free trial of the actual car, like in Crew, would be better. Off-road racing should definitely be allowed to have a spot in PvP. If they don't have the option to include every race type, then add a section that alternates between gauntlet races and rumble races. This would spice up PvP, but to be honest, I am not sure how popular it would be. Of course, it will be popular at the beginning, and also if they boost it, but who knows. Rumble is just overall dead in every single lobby, and this would be a great way to revive it and get those who do like Rumble to all play together in one race. Unbound loves this crash cams, and the fact that the cops have the ability to crash out racers I think was 100% intentional. I think they wanted the feel from the OG Hot Pursuit to be present in the game, but also wanted to give us a twist with the Unbound physics and all of that. So I do disagree here. Though it is very annoying when a cop hits you and a crash cam starts, I do think it is needed for the game to function how it does. Having cops be one tier below racers I think may not be the best for functionality in Hot Pursuit either, because cops cars have trouble keeping up in higher tiers as is. In S, the cops cannot really keep up. In A+, they are about equal if not a tad bit faster, and we all know how they act in A tier, which shouldn't even be a thing. I think that cops should be one tier above racers and not be in S+ how they are now. This would limit the ability for cops to completely outclass racers and would allow for a bit more fluidity in Hot Pursuit. We talked about rank mode last video, so the only thing I will say is it is a great idea. I haven't changed about that, but anti-cheat needs to be implemented into the game correctly to avoid any problems that may be caused with ranks between racers. Once this is done, then by all means, please add a ranked mode. This last idea reminds me of the Crew and how they have the time period races. This would be nice, but Criterion needs to add a category of sorting to the garage where we can sort by year as well. Also, they would need a way to be able to tell what cars are iconic and what cars are not iconic. Sure, they can use previous Need for Speed games, but it would need to be a way that everyone would be happy with. A question I do have is, would this game mode be stock cars in their eras only, or would it be cars that can be custom? If a muscle car is being played with but has a V12 in it, wouldn't that take away from the purpose of era racing? These are things that need to be discussed, and that is the reason why I don't think Criterion would do something like that, even though it is a great idea. Whenever something has too many factors, I've noticed they tend to not want to do it. For example, the stock car playlist is cut and dry, and the era playlist that they have now with the Testarossa and other cars are stock cars as well. Now, regarding motorcycles and Need for Speed, honestly, I want everyone's opinion on this one. To me, it seems like Need for Speed is not really the game for motorcycles, and they would seem to be a forced fit. Need for Speed has always been about car racing, and street racing using fast exotic cars, JDM cars, muscle cars, tuners, etc. It has always been about cars for the most part, so motorcycles wouldn't really have a place to really play. Also, the tracks will need to be designed for them to occupy a space beside the cars. And also, what type of handling would they get? Would they be able to drift? Would they only be grip? Those are things that need to be talked about as well, right? But anyway, hope you all enjoyed part 2 to the series. Yes, there will be a part 3 since we have not gotten to all of the answers yet. Remember guys, in the last video I said that I will get to everybody's answer. Do not worry. You guys loved part 1 and it did really well, so hopefully you are hitting lightning in a bottle here. If you all enjoyed, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.